All right. Good morning, guys. In this series, a quick one, I will be showing us how to install Nginx with PHP7. All right. The task for today is how to combine Nginx with PHP7. All right. Nginx plus PHP7. All right, so I'm going to be installing Nginx from a repository. Okay. All right, we're going to create a Docker file. So in this Docker file, I'm going to be using a CentOS CentOS 7. All right. In this CentOS 7, I also need to set up Nginx repository. So let's see how to set up Nginx repository on on CentOS. So this is what I will do. I'll go to Google. I will say Nginx repository CentOS CentOS 7. So I'll hop onto the official website of Nginx. All right, for real for CentOS. Okay, so let me take this. This should be that. Copy. So come back. So this is what I would do. I'm going to create a file. I'll call it nginx.repo. All right, in my directory. Okay. So in this file, I'm going to paste that repository, nginx repository. All right. So that's all. Save and quit. Sorry. Save and quit. So I'll go back to my Docker file and I'm going to run a new instruction to copy nginx.repo into my container. So that will be etc/nyum.repos.d/nginx.what repo. All right. So I now have my repository inside of the container. So as that is, so I can come here and run a fresh instruction saying that I want to install Nginx, yum install Nginx. Only then I can install Nginx, and that is that. So let's see if everything works. I want to build this image. So I'll say docker build -t Nginx version 1, and the file is docker file. My context is the present working directory. So if I hit enter, let's see if everything goes fine. Let's see if everything goes fine. We should get that up and running. Okay, so let's look at, so we've successfully built our image. All right, so if I say Docker images, we should have grades. our Nginx version 1 install. So far, we've been able to install Nginx from a repository. All right. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the next thing we need to do, we need to install PHP. So how do we install PHP? And we need to install PHP um, from a repository as well. And the version of PHP we're going to install is PHP version 7. So let's hop onto Google and say how to install PHP. All right, PHP 7 um IUS repository. IUS repository. So I want to install PHP 7 using IUS repository. So let's see what we have. Let me see. Let me close Nginx. Let me see IUS. This is not what I want. This is Remy. I don't want to use Remy. I want to use IUS. Install PHP 7. mm, with um okay, let me go direct to IUS. IUS repo. Let's check this. IUS repo PHP 7.4. Let's see. Um IUS, let me check. Okay, these are open setup. Okay, great, great. This is what we need to look at. All right, so this is how you install PHP 7 using IUS repo. So I'm using CentOS. So I'm going to install the RPM, which is the repository. So this is going to install the repository for me. Then after installing the repository, I can go ahead and start installing um the PHP binaries that I need. So run yum install. So yum install. This should give me okay. Yum install. Let me do it like this. So yum install this. All right, so this is the repository. So after installing the repository, all right, I also need to install other PHP dependencies. Sorry, other PHP binaries. So yum install. Let's put the Y. Yum install. So I'll go on to this repository and check the versions and check. Sorry, and check the PHP. Where are you? The PHP binaries that I want to install. Okay, okay. So PHP 7 x86 packages, P for PHP. Then I need 7.4. All right. So I'm going to install CLI, common, and FPM. So this is there are two separate versions of you have to be very careful. Um, okay, 7.4.28 CLI, common 7.4.28. All right, so I'm going to install this. Um, let me take, sorry. So this is what I want to do. So yeah, I will say now install PHP 74. All right, minus CLI. Okay, I also need to install PHP 74 minus common. I also need to install PHP 74 minus FPM. So let's check for FPM. FPM. All right. So PHP 74 minus FPM. So all of these three PHP binaries is what I want to install. Okay. All right. So let's see if everything goes fine. Escape, save and quit. Sorry. Escape, save and quit. So let's build our Docker image again. Docker build minus T Nginx Nginx version 2, and yeah, so that's my context. Let's see. Okay, perfect. So let's see all. Oh, can't scroll. All right, so this repo is built from. All right, so that was successful, right? So we now have both PHP and Nginx, right? But however, we need also to set up a a virtual host, a server virtual host for Nginx. So without that, we might not be able to, all right, to view our configuration for Nginx. So for that, we need to hop back to Google and then do a search. We can say Nginx, Nginx, PHP, FPM, vhost, right? So is that's the virtual host for PH for Nginx is on GitHub. So click on that and go on this address. So here is the virtual host for Nginx. So just copy all of this. Copy all of this. That is it. Copy it and come here. Let's escape from here and let's create a file. Let's create vim. Let's call that file nginx config. Nginx config. All right. So open this file and paste all of that. All right. So these are the few things we need to change. We need to change some few things. The server name, I'm going to use my default public IP because I don't have a domain name. So what I will do, I'll hop onto my AWS instance and look at my yes, that's my instance. My server name is my public IP. So I'll bring it up here. I'll paste it. So Nginx virtual host is kind of different from that of Apache, and in the sense that it's it has an every statement in the every statement in the server block has a semicolon. It's terminated with a semicolon. All right. So now our access log. Okay. Then we might need to define our document root. So our document root, we can just say my root is going to be um n nginx nginx docs, right? Nginx docs, all right? So my access log, I would love my access log to be in nginx docs, nginx docs, access log should be here. The same thing should be applicable to error logs. Nginx docs, okay? So this is what I want, and this is how I want it. Okay, that's fine. So I may need to go and create this directory and move it into the container. Okay, so yeah, so oh roots. Okay, okay. So yeah, so I need to remove this part. I need to remove this part because undo. Yeah. Nginx docs. Oh, gee, I think they happen. Okay. All right. So that's my error log. Error log. Yes. So come down here. I may need to delete this one they have here already. Delete that. Delete that. So go to the top and terminate it with a semicolon. All right. Nginx docs. So that's the few changes I need to make. Then these are the portion for our PHP. All right. These are the portion that describes how our PHP will be served. All right. That's okay. So that's all we need to set in our server block. Escape and save. Okay, so mind you, we created a directory called Nginx docs. So we may have to include uh, that in our Docker file. All right. So this is what we need to do. Run make directory inside our Docker file, right? We call that Nginx docs. All right. So this is our root directory, Nginx docs. So we need to copy our server configuration, all right, into our container. So our server configuration is copy nginx config into, all right, slash etc slash nginx slash conf.d slash default dot conf. All right. So what I'm doing, I'm copying my server block. All right. My server block is on here into default.conf. So that's all. That's all we need to do. That's all we need to do. So uh, escape, save and quit, save and quit. So I'm going to rebuild. I'm going to rebuild. Let's check. I'm going to rebuild nginx config. I'm going to rebuild. Um, I'm going to rebuild my image. Okay, so I'll say docker build minus t nginx, let's call that version 3. The file is docker, and here is my context. Okay, so let's see if everything goes fine. All right, 6 of 6, successful. So from copy and okay, that's this other part we've done already. So okay, that's the part of installing the PHP. We make a directory of this. It's made. Then now copy the nginx config into our default. All right. So that's it. So that's it. So that's our version 3. So let's see. Let's create a container out of this image, version 3 image. If I say docker run minus d dash dash name is nginx con. Okay, Nginx con. No port yet. We shouldn't. I don't want to give you the port yet. The image name is Nginx v3. Okay, so let's say container created. So if we say docker ps, yeah. So what's the issue with our container? Let's check. Docker logs. Logs is blah 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 blah. Nginx con. No error. No error. Why did he exit? Okay, let's do one more thing. Nginx con is removed. Let's rebuild it. Let's rerun it. V3. Let me do something. Docker PS. Okay. Let's remove it. Let's do one more thing. IT. That's okay. So Docker PS. All right. So there was no process, so we needed to initiate a process. All right. So I want to show us something. So this I want to show us is about Nginx process and PHP process. So if I do Docker, let me exec, let me have I want to have access into this container. Docker exec, container name Nginx con. All right, then bash. So I want to go into this container, all right, and see all that we created. Mind you, we created a directory called nginx nginx docs. So this directory is going to have this is where this is our document root directory. We also created a file under our server block. Let's see our server block under etc nginx conf.d then default. We also did, oh, sorry. We also did that. Let's see. All right. So these are server block. All right. Great. So what else did we do? What else? That's all. So now I want to show you something. There are there are two services we've installed. We've installed Nginx as well as PHP. However, it might not be fine, it might not be good to run um nginx and php in the foreground, because this is what the challenge we might have if we should run nginx in the foreground. We saw how in our previous chapters, all right, how we run Apache in the foreground. And when you run a service in the foreground, it takes ownership. All right, it takes control of your terminal. So no other process can run. All right, except you terminate the process in the foreground. Okay. So in this context, what we're trying to do, what we want to do now is we want to run PHP in the background, and we also want to run our Nginx in the foreground. So this is what we'll do. But before then, let's see if PHP is already installed. PHP minus V. Okay, PHP is not found. Okay, so meaning that I don't think PHP was properly installed. PHP was not installed on this. So let's go back and see why PHP was not installed. Okay, so go back to our container, to our Docker file. Um, mm, let's see. Is it? So let's see something. Mm, Oh, sorry. It was not installed. So let's see. Uh, whoa. Okay, let's see why. PHP was not installed. Mm, to be on the safer side, let's do it like this. Mm, okay. All right. So let me remove the running container, Nginx con done. So let's rerun our build. So Docker build is gonna take this shape. So building version 4. So let's see if everything goes fine. Let's see. All right, this is now installing the PHP. Okay, this this is now installing the PHP. Okay, the PHP has now been installed. So installed this. All right. So now let's create a container out of version 4. Let's create a container docker run version 4. That is big. So if I do docker ps, we should have that. So let's now exec into that. Docker exec, exec minus what? It, container name, nginx con, and give it a terminal bash. All right. So if I say PHP should come now. You can see now. We now have PHP. So the version of PHP you are running is what? 7.4. Okay. So now we can see how we can run PHP in the background. So if I do this, PHP minus FPM, let's see what happens. Okay. We are having some challenges. So we are having challenges. So the challenge we are having is it's FPM initialization failed. All right. So it cannot initialize FPM. So unable to create the PID file in this. All right. So PHP cannot be run in the background. So what we have to do now is we may have to create a directory called slash var slash run slash php fpm. So this directory, this is where the PID, this is this is where the PID for FPM would be placed. The PHP PID, the process ID for FPM will be stored. All right, it will be stored in PHP dash FPM. So if you see it very well, so no such is trying to look for that file, that directory. It's not seeing it. So we may have to create this file in the container. So this is what we'll do. We are going to exit this container, kill the container, docker rm minus f. So this is what we'll do. Killing this container now, we'll say nginx nginx con. The container is dead. All right, so we'll go back to our docker file and then do some pretty edition. So we're going to we are going to make a directory called slash var run slash php minus fpm. So this directory is going to be used by the fpm process. Okay, so that's that. So now let's rerun our image. Let's call that image version 5. Sorry, let's rebuild our image, call it version 5. Okay, yes, that is fine. Now let's run our container docker run version 5. That's there. So let's now exec into our container minus it engines con bash. So as it is now, if I do php minus fpm, I should be fine. So at this process now, at this stage now, So if I say ps minus aux to check the processes running, I can see that I have PHP processes running in the background, not the foreground, in the background. So let me kill these processes. If I say pq minus 9 php fpm, all right, they are dead. So if I check the processes running aux, they are no more. All right, so this is how you run php fpm in the background. So let's see, google and see how we can run what's it called, nginx in the foreground. Okay, so our next task is to run nginx in the foreground. So this is what we'll google out. So we're going to say nginx foreground, foreground. All right, how to run nginx within Docker without halting. Let's see. Let's see. Great. This is what we need to run. All right, this is how you run nginx in the foreground. So let's test it and see. Let's test that and see. So let's say if everything goes fine, that should work. So let's check our processes. AUX, nothing is there. So let's run nginx in the foreground and see. Minus g dash daemon of, all right, semicolon, then that, all right, perfect. So this is what you get when you run a process in the foreground. So the process is going to take ownership of the terminal. All right, the process is going to take ownership of the terminal. So this is so everything is now working for us. Now we need to put all of these as a script. All right, we need to run all of this as a script, both the PHP FPM running in the background as well as the Nginx running in the foreground. So let me terminate this. Let me terminate Control C. That is fine. And let me exit from this container and let me kill this container. Docker rm minus f nginx con. Okay, the container is dead. So let's create a simple script. Let's create a simple script. Let me call it start.sh. All right. So start.sh, in that start.sh, I'm going to bin bash. So here, let me just put something start PHP FPM. All right. So let me just put small a fizzy, call it a fizzy. Starting PHP FPM. Okay. All right. So this is what we'll do. I'm going to run that user sbin slash PHP FPM. Right. So this script is going to run PHP FPM. Then the next one is start Nginx in foreground. In foreground, start this in background. Okay. Then start this in foreground. So echo. Let's add our fizzy. Let's add our fizzy. Starting ng mix. Okay, so this is part of our feeding. Okay, then what we'll do, we're going to copy that ng mix minus g, all right, minus g, daemon of semicolon, then that's that. So this is how you run Nginx in the foreground. So this is our script. So copy it, save and what? Quit. So now I'm going to copy this our script into a Docker file. So that's stats.sh. So Docker file, this is what we're going to do now. All right. So I'm going to copy um stats.sh, okay, into slash, right, stats.sh. Okay, so after copying it, I'm going to make it executable by saying run chmod, all right, chmod plus x slash start dot what sh. So once that is there, I can now use cmd to run start dot sh. Okay. All right. So at this point, I'm copying what I have locally into my container. All right. It should be under slash root. And at this other level, I'm making it executable by making it executable. This script should be executable. Then here, I'm now using a command instruction to run the script. So let's see if everything goes fine. All right. Let's see if everything is settled. Okay, so let's build this image. Let's build it version. That should be version 6. That should be version 6. So version 6 should be our final image. So this has been built. So you can see here that CMD, it has been run. All right. So let's see now. So we are going to go into our container. Do we need to go into the container? No. Any need? Let's check. Let's check. So if I build this container, Docker run version 6, version 6, it has been built. So let's do a Docker exec into this container. Yes, Nginx. Great. So now if I check my ps minus aux, I should be able to see the both processes. All right. So this is the Nginx process. It's already running, and here are the what's it called? The PHP process already running. So my Nginx is running the foreground while my PHP is running in the background. So with my public IP, we can, okay, I've not set the port. Sorry, I've not set the port. For let me exit, let me kill it. Let me kill this container, kill this container, kill that container. That's it. So now I need to rerun it and give it a port. All right. Um, yeah. So give it a port minus p and 1990 column 80. Okay. So if I hit enter, that is it. So if I say docker ps, everything should be fine. So I should be able to access my Nginx server with PHP on port 9090. So let's hop onto our browser. Let's copy my public IP, go to my browser, hit that and say column 9090. If everything goes fine, we should be able to see Nginx website. So this is Nginx server running. So okay, so we've been able in this episode, we've been able to install Nginx along with PHP version 7. So let's do something very nice quickly. Let's see how we can display a php.info page. All right, so I'm going to kill this container. I've killed this container. So let's just create a php dot info page. So I'll say vim php info dot php. So let me just call that php info dot php. All right. So let me just create a small PHP script, then using the PHP info function, PHP info function, I should be able to get that. So that's it. So that's it. So now I will copy this PHP info.php into my what's it called? Into my roots folder. Okay. So this is what I will do. I will open my Docker file. Then where was that? So we made a directory. We made a directory called Nginx docs, right? Nginx docs. Okay, so this is what I want to do. So okay, okay, where are you? So after making this directory, we should be able to uh copy php info dot php. into slash Nginx docs. Okay, so that's my documents root directory. Okay, PHP info. So if everything goes fine, we should be able to display our PHP page. So let's rebuild the image. Let's call it version 7. Let's call that version 7. Let's call it version 7. That's fine. Successful. Okay, that's successful. Then let's now build the container. Let's run the container, sorry. Version 7. That is it. So if we go back to our website, refresh, perfect. So now let's access our PHP info slash PHP info dot PHP. So let's see if everything about gateway PHP info dot PHP, PHP info dot PHP. So in our server block, what did we do in our server block? Let's check. Let's check. Did we start Nginx config? Let's see. Okay. You should index.php. Index.php. We should render index.php. So let me give that file a name index.php. Let me call it index.php. Okay, instead of php info.php. So I'll rename this guy, move php to this index.php. Okay, this has been done. So I want to go into my Docker file and copy that as well. So copy index.php into this. So let's rebuild that image, call it version 8. Let's rebuild and call it version 8. Docker build. Okay, great. Now let's run the container. Have we killed the container? We've not killed the container. Let's kill the container. Let's kill the container. Let's kill the container. Great. Then let's run the container again. Version 8. So if everything goes well, this should display PHP info. So this has to be index.php. Feedback gateway. All right, so this is what we shall resolve in our next episode. I shall resolve this in our next episode. So thank you so much, and then thank you, and see you in our next episode. Thank you.